In retirement, everything changes. You have so many things to consider: the money side, the non-financial side, your new identity, your relationships. One of those things you need to consider is exactly where your income's going to come from when you stop working. And that causes a lot of stress for a lot of people. It's really those first couple of years that are the most tumultuous as one transitions into retirement. A way to solve that problem and reduce the stress is create a 5-year cash flow plan. And that's what we're going to discuss today. Thanks for tuning in. If we haven't met before, I'm Planner Mike, certified financial planner professional and owner of True Wealth Financial. I believe that retirement should be prosperous, enjoyable, and purposeful. A lot of people dream about retirement, but find the actual path transitioning into it complex, confusing, and challenging. I help Christians create and optimize a retirement plan so that they can retire with confidence. Today, I want to discuss creating an initial 5-year cash flow plan that will help you over those first couple of years into retirement. Because if you can solve this, it will greatly help you transition into retirement with confidence. Over the last couple episodes, we've been talking about the initial steps of retirement planning. If you've ever seen our retirement framework, essentially we've been working on steps 1 and 2. The first one is to create a defined retirement plan. That's when we get our needs, our wants, and our wishes of what we want our retirement life to look like out of our head and on paper where we can talk about it. We then began to unpack how we're going to pay for it. We talked about the 4 sources of income: human, social, financial, and personal use. And then we tested that plan for feasibility. We did it through Monte Carlo and probability of success. And we also did it through net present value. We talked about that last week. Today, we're going to conclude this series by outlining an initial 5-year cash flow plan to help you step away from work with confidence. Again, to help us illustrate this process, we're going to use Steve and Sarah Starter, which is our case study we've been using over the last couple weeks. I've actually gotten a lot of good feedback from this, and I've been thinking about doing another one, kind of a more live scenario. If that might be something you're interested in, let me know. We can change obviously your names and your identity and stuff like that. We can keep you off camera. But I thought about doing one with a person, kind of more live scenario, kind of recording it and then playing it back here, others to learn from, and help you walk through that process of initially creating your first defined and feasible retirement plan. If that's something you're interested in doing, maybe later in Q1, February, March timeframe, you can send an email to mike@truewealth.show, mike@truewealth.show. I'll see who kind of reaches out, and we'll maybe see if we can make something like that happen. So in creating this cash flow plan, I'm going to show you how we can kind of do it an automated way using a financial planning software. I'm going to show you 2 different ways to do it manually after that. So the first way we're going to do this is to use a cash flow-based financial planning platform. Again, in our practice, we use Right Capital, but a handful of other ones do this as well. Money Guide Pro, eMoney if you're working with an advisor, New Planner Retirement might do it. You might be able to use some other retail-based financial planning platforms, but you want something that's not just goals-focused or goals-based financial planning, but more cash flow financial planning. So we're going to transition into Right Capital here, and I will show you this 5-year cash flow plan inside of Right Capital. So jumping into Right Capital here, we're in the Steve and Sarah Starter instance, and under the retirement thing, cash flows, you can see that there are cash flow tables down here. And I went to the year that they're going to retire. Steve's going to retire at 65. And so this is their first 5 years. So the nice thing about Right Capital is anytime you click in this, you can dig down. So you can see exactly where their income's going to come from or the first 5 years. So again, Steve's going to work some self-employment consulting gigs. Sarah's going to have first Social Security coming in. Steve's going to start his 67. And we have Sarah's pension. So we can see year by year of how much money is coming in over these first 5 years. And then we can see the expenses as well. So their expenses here, they have their basic living expenses, some housing expenses, property tax, HOA, maintenance, and then their healthcare expenses, And then eventually some other things here, like their insurances that will go away at some point, like Steve life insurance will go away. And we can see essentially what they need for their goals, their vacation, their car, their gifts, etc., things like that. And so we can see their expenses going out as well as the taxes that they'd have on that income. And we can see over here, this net cash flow is essentially the difference that we have to pull from our retirement or investments accounts. So from an income perspective, we can see we have human capital, we have their social capital, and we have to fill in the gaps of what we need with financial capital or personal use assets. Steven's there aren't selling any personal use assets. That would be houses, land, cars, things like that. And so they would fill in the income that they need with their financial accounts. So in this case, year one of retirement would be about $40,000. And Sarah and Steve want to pull that from Steve's 401k amount. And so these first 5 years, they're going to be pulling income from their retirement account, and they've designated Steve's 401k as the account that they're going to pull from, leaving their Roth accounts to continue to grow tax-free. Another way to use this in-right capital is this water flow approach. For this is the year that they retire, Steve retires, and you can see it kind of on one screen where this is the income that they have coming in. There's human capital. These two are their social capital. Their expenses here, essentially their living expenses, their housing, their healthcare, and their other things. They have some goals, vacation. This is hobbies and some gifting they want to do, and a little bit of taxes. We can see down the bottom what the income that they need from a distribution perspective from Steve's 401k. Another visual is this here. And so you can, going back here real quick, these are 1 year snapshots in time, right? Where you can kind of go year by year over those if you want to see them that way. But just picking on that first year, we can break it down this way as well. And you can get another visual of what income we have going in if we had a planned distribution. So we could see here, we have $40,276. We can do a planned distribution right here that will come from Steve's 401k. And then essentially that will equal out. The income that we have and the outflows that we have are the same. Again, you can see these are all broken down. Anything with an arrow, you can kind of click down and see what the details of those underpinnings are over time. So hopefully that helps you see the benefit of creating the initial 5 years. You know what you need and you know where that money's going to come from. Again, we're going to show you 2 different ways you can do this manually as well. But if you're finding this information helpful or valuable, please hit the like button. It'll let me know to do more shows like this. Plus, it's a great way to say thank you. Okay, so when it comes to manually doing this, first I'm going to show you in Excel. We're going to create a table with 5 years, the first 5 years, that's what we're solving for. And we're going to have columns of needs, wants, and wishes, as well as those 4 income sources that you're going to potentially have in retirement. So let's jump into that and I'll show you that now. So one of the ways to do this is manually in Excel. So essentially you can create a table similar to this here with columns of needs, wants, and wishes and a total if you want, and the 4 different sources of income. And you can break those out. For example, if you wanted to, you could break this out to Social Security 1, Social Security 2, pensions if you wanted to. You could break out needs, wants, and wishes in more detail if you want to. But the idea is, how much do we need in a particular year? How much do we have coming in and what's our balance, right? So in this case, with these numbers in here, slightly different, we need essentially 48,319, right? So I didn't copy these exactly. I just kind of pulled them over to illustrate the concept. And now we have essentially $103,000 of expenses going out, $103,000 of income coming in for this specific year, year 1 in retirement. So if we fill these numbers in here, we could see that we can then total it up. We could see exactly how much we need to pull from Steve's 401k over the first couple of years. And you could simply add it up here. And we need about $280,000 essentially from Steve's account over those first couple of years of retirement. So again, what this helps you do is get it out of your head and on paper. You can see where you know exactly how much you need, how much you want, how much you wish to have, where those incomes are coming in, and how much you have to pull from the account. And it doesn't have to be one account. It could be first year, we're going to use an IRA. The second year, we're going to use a 403B. Third year, we're going to use a 401k, right? And you could think about that way going through. But the idea is you have a plan for knowing where your money is going to come from, because that will relieve the stress of at least the money income side of things. The other way to go about doing this is just simply do it in Word or on a piece of paper, where you just kind of make a columns of these things here, and you can write in the amounts that you might need and then print it out. You have to obviously do the math, make sure they equal out. But the idea again is you know exactly what's coming and when it's coming. So in this case, Steve, for example, they have that 36,000 coming in. I don't remember exactly the numbers, but you get the idea of, you can write it all in here so you know what's coming, what's going. And then generally speaking, this financial gap is what we use to pull from retirement accounts to fill in what we need. Today, we talked about creating a retirement cash flow plan for the first 5 years of retirement. If you're still with me and finding this information helpful, please consider subscribing. Imagine the confidence and peace that you'll have to be able to step away from the workforce if you have a good game plan going in, where you know exactly where your income's going to come from for the first 5 years of retirement. It will allow you to focus on really the more important things of retirement, like purpose, like fulfillment, like relationships, like your interests. Now, ideally, this concept here of creating this cash flow plan should be done in conjunction with an overall comprehensive retirement plan. Things that take into account estate planning, insurance, investment, and taxes, and a whole lot more. If you don't have a good retirement plan, a good first step might be to engage in a True Wealth retirement assessment. It's a financial checkup of sorts to help you see if you're retirement ready, as well as will give you access to right capital and a one-page plan of recommendations that you can improve your journey into retirement. If you already have a retirement plan, a good micro action for this week might be to go back and revisit it and specifically identify the shortfalls and which accounts you're going to pull that financial money from. Are you going to pull it from your 401k, like Steve and Sarah? Are you going to pull it from traditional IRAs? Are you going to pull it from some Roth accounts? Things like that. Identify that specific account that you're going to use for those 5 years to fill in any gaps that might be needed. Remember, creating a 5-year cash flow plan will help you tremendously retire with confidence. Again, I'm considering the idea of doing another case study in a couple months, but this one more live, where people can hear and learn and understand kind of your scenario and help you walk through it. Obviously, again, we'll do it in an anonymous way. We'll keep the details and the specifics of your situation kind of anonymous. No one would see you on camera, things like that. But if that's something you're interested in doing, you can send an email to mike@truewealth.show, mike@truewealth.show. I'll reach out and kind of get some specifics, and we'll kind of maybe begin to try work through some details. Hope this helps you on your path to a prosperous, enjoyable, purposeful retirement. Till next time, hope you have a great day. Thanks again for taking the time to watch this week's episode of the True Wealth Financial Show. I encourage you to like, share, and subscribe so you don't miss any future episodes. Additionally, you can find more information on our website at www.truewealth.show. One final note, though, as we wrap up to today's show. While I hope the information was helpful, valuable, and insightful, it's really for information and educational purposes only. Prior to making any decisions or taking any actions, I'd strongly encourage you to talk to your legal, tax, estate, or financial advisor who's familiar with the unique circumstances of your particular personal situation. Thanks again for watching, and until next time, hope you have a great day.